Today, we're tackling a very real challenge for language learners, and that's staying motivated while mastering the highly practical vocabulary of eating out. Because look, if you've been studying English for a while, you know that bridging the gap between those textbook exercises and actually ordering a meal in the real world, well, it can feel like a massive leap. But today, we're going to close that gap completely. You know what's really interesting about this quote from our sources? It totally validates exactly how you might be feeling. Learning English, actually learning any language for that matter, takes an incredible amount of continuous energy. It is so easy to lose momentum. So to keep your motivation high, we're going to focus on an immediate, real-world win. We're going to equip you with the exact phrases and vocabulary you need to confidently navigate a night out. So here is our chronological journey for today. 1. Motivation and mindset. 2. Choosing where to eat. 3. Navigating the menu. 4. Ordering like a pro. And finally, 5. Asking for the bill. Let's kick things off with a quick check on where our heads are at. Section 1, Motivation and Mindset, Staying Focused. Be honest with yourself here. Do you sometimes lose motivation with your practice? It is completely normal. As our sources point out, very few of us can stay excited about something 100% of the time, especially when it requires a ton of effort. But stepping out of the textbook and into a highly practical, sensory scenario, like going out for a nice meal, is literally the perfect way to get that excitement back. It gives your brain a concrete, tasty reason to remember the words. So first things first, we need to decide exactly what kind of establishment we're looking for. Let's move to Section 2, Choosing where to eat, finding the right place. The English language has specific terms for different dining experiences, and knowing what you're craving will dictate where you go. For instance, a cafe is generally your go-to for a cup of tea or coffee and a light snack, like a sandwich or maybe a piece of cake. A restaurant, on the other hand, implies a formal sit-down meal, and usually a slightly lighter wallet. If you just want a quick, hot meal, like a burger and chips, you look for a fast food restaurant. And then, of course, you have options like bars, pubs, and takeaways, which all have their own unique vibes. Now, a takeaway is absolutely perfect for those nights you just want to grab some hot food in a box and head back to the comfort of your own couch. The defining feature of a takeaway is super simple. You buy the meal there, but you don't eat it there. But hey, if you do decide to go out, don't forget that a British pub or bar isn't just for alcohol. As our sources define it, these are fantastic spots to grab what we call a soft drink, which is just a non-alcoholic beverage like fruit juice or cola. And they usually serve some really traditional, hearty meals or snacks too. It's a super casual, welcoming environment to practice your English. All right, you've picked your spot and taken a seat. Welcome to Section 3, Navigating the Menu, Understanding Your Options. Menus actually have a wonderfully universal structure, which should give you instant confidence. They're generally split into 3 distinct sections. First up, you have starters to begin your meal, things like the soup of the day or a mixed salad. Oh, and notice that little V in brackets? That stands for vegetarian. Then you move on to the main courses for the heavy lifting, featuring dishes like steak, vegetable curry, or maybe a gorgeous salmon fillet. And finally, we end on a sweet note with desserts, where you'll find treats like chocolate ice cream or a classic apple pie. When you're looking at that main course section, you might encounter some beloved traditional foods. Picture a beautiful cut of meat served with vegetables, perhaps a steak or traditional roast beef. Or, of course, the absolute UK classic, fish and chips. Knowing these terms before you even open the menu saves you a ton of mental translation time at the table. Okay, now comes the really fun part. Section 4, Ordering like a pro, Speaking confidently. When the waiter approaches your table to get things started, they'll likely ask, "Are you ready to order?" A highly effective, incredibly natural, and polite phrase to use in response is, "I'd like," followed by your choice. Yes, "I'd like the steak, please." It's simple, it's direct, and it's perfectly polite. Now, if you do order a steak, get ready for a very specific follow-up question. The waiter needs to know how you want the meat cooked. So you need to know your preference. Rare means it's still quite red inside, medium is pink in the middle, and well done means it's cooked completely all the way through with 0 pink remaining. Waiters will also often throw a side dish option your way, for example, choosing between chips or new potatoes. Responding is as easy as stating your preference with a polite "please." Notice how you don't need to speak in long, complicated paragraphs here. Short, polite phrases are exactly how native speakers order. "With chips, please." Boom. Done. When the drink order comes up, you can totally swap out the phrase, "I'd like," for another incredibly natural everyday phrase, "I'll have." So the waiter asks, "And what would you like to drink?" And you confidently reply, "I'll have a Coke, please," or "I'll have a fruit juice, please." Using "I'll have" makes you sound instantly more fluent. You've confidently ordered, and you've enjoyed an absolutely wonderful meal. But now it's time to wrap things up, finalize the transaction, and head home. Let's look at our final section, asking for the bill, wrapping up your meal. Before you leave, usually towards the end of your meal, the waiter will likely check on you by asking, "Is everything all right?" This is your golden opportunity to practice some positive vocabulary. A fantastic descriptive word to use here is delicious, which simply means very, very good. Thank you, it's delicious. And finally, the essential question you must ask to politely signal that you are ready to pay. Could I have the bill, please? Remember, in British English, we ask for the bill, not the check like you might hear in American English. Memorize this exact phrase. It is your golden ticket to a smooth exit. By focusing your effort on highly practical, real-life scenarios just like this one, you're building real-world confidence. You're moving from just studying a language to actually living it. It reminds you exactly why you put all that continuous energy into staying focused in the first place. So, I leave you with this final exciting thought. Armed with your new vocabulary, what are you going to confidently order on your next English-speaking night out?